To Professor Fritz Popp, understanding the movement of energy and information is the key to understanding life itself.
Communication is the most basic event which happens in every system, and it is completely connected to what we call consciousness. You have even in a single cell, you have already this kind of consciousness, which means that communication takes place.
To find the means of that communication, Professor Popp has built extremely sensitive optical detectors. They reveal that all living matter absorbs and emits particles of light, known as biophotons. These particles can transfer vast amounts of information around entire organisms with extraordinary speed. Popp suggests biophotons could be a principal means of communication used by the body's cells. The implications for organ recipients are quite clear to biophysicist Beverly Rubik.
I imagine that light is emitted from the donor organ and the recipient's body, and there's now a biocommunication process, a conversation in terms of information transferred by biophotons.
To organ recipients like Debbie Vega, scientific ideas like this are exciting news.
I just love the fact that there are doctors who are going to do further research as to the scientific spirituality aspect, the energy, whatever it may be, and challenge these other doctors to accept that we do feel what we feel.
Beverly Rubik was an advisor on alternative medicine to the National Institutes of Health for nearly a decade. She's now funded under an NIH grant to research the human body's subtle energies using a technique known as digital Kirlian photography. By studying the energy fields of people like healer Julie Motz, Beverly hopes to gain insights into how information and memories may be transferred from one person to another.
So basically you place your fingertip on an electrified plate, light is emitted, and inside here is a measurement of the visible and ultraviolet light that comes out of the finger.
Before Julie conducts an energy healing session with her patient, Beverly records the light emitted from each of their fingertips. Based on this information, she produces an image of the entire body's energy field. Beverly will compare these images with ones taken after the healing session. This will reveal whether energy has been exchanged between Julie and her patient. Within moments of beginning the healing, Julie begins seeing imagery related to her patient's past.
The image that I get the moment I touch is of a baby kicking and crying.
When I was 3, I stepped on a nail with the same foot.
Aha. Well, sometimes I get just emotions flowing through my body. Sometimes I get images, usually of the patient at different ages, ages that relate to the injury. And sometimes numbers will pop into my mind, which will also have to do with the age at which something traumatic occurred that's related to that part of the body. If you think you've never felt energy flowing in your body, just remember the last time you were terrified, or the last time you were really angry, or the last time you were deeply hurt, or the last time you fell madly in love. That thing you felt moving through your body like a wave, that actually is your energy.
After examining the data, Beverly concludes that energy and information have been transferred between Julie and her patient.
Okay, this is Brian before treatment and after treatment. This is a much improved picture of energy regulation after the treatment. And if we move quickly from pre to post like this, you can see that much more readily, how energy has moved out. He's glowing.
That's quite striking.
Yeah.
Beverly Rubik's research suggests that our energy fields are continually influenced by our experiences and emotions. She also believes this information can be transferred to a transplant patient when they receive a donor organ.
The whole being is gone, but there's an energetic signature left in that organ or tissue, which is characteristic of their life, their memories, their experience. I would say that we're merging the energy signatures of two beings when we transplant an organ from one deceased person into the body of another.
New scientific insights about our energy fields raise an intriguing question. Could a transplant patient improve their chance of recovery by accepting the energies inherited with a donor organ? Heart recipient Catherine Beckman believes acceptance is the secret to her survival. After a transplant, organ recipients spent the rest of their lives taking numerous anti-rejection medications. Medical science regards them as critical to a recipient's survival. But 10 years after receiving her donor heart, Catherine Beckman began to question their impact on her life.
In transplant, we don't talk about the dark side, the changes in your body that you go through, the regimen, the drugs, the biopsies. Over time, I'd hear, well, you're reacting abnormally. How can you have an abnormal reaction to a transplant? A transplant is itself abnormal. How do you surrender? How do you truly surrender to what sometimes feels like a stranger within?
Catherine decided there was only one way she and her donor's heart might reach a state of peace.
I made the decision, and I stopped taking my anti-rejection medications. And early on, there were a lot of nights that I was afraid. There was a very real possibility that this was not going to have a happy ending for me.
In theory, Catherine should have been dead within days. But suicide was not her aim.
When I made my decision, I wondered, could love really produce the marriage between a donor and a recipient? I saw it as a choice for love. And it's been, at this point, 11 months, almost 12. And I have not had an episode of rejection.
Surviving for almost a year without anti-rejection medication is an achievement previously unknown among heart recipients. Catherine Beckman is convinced a change in attitude was the secret behind her success.
If we started with the end goal of integration, true loving integration, we would have a very different language in transplant. We would not be at war with these wonderful, wonderful beings who come to reside within us.
Catherine wanted to generate scientific interest in her ability to survive without